What's up, guys? This is Astranox. We have Yulha, the preview of this hero. Actually, guys, this hero was leaked. It was data mined by Butrinal, the legend, on Reddit. I wanted to make a video at the time, but I couldn't, right? So now they released the preview of Yulha in advance because, I think because she was data mined, right? So that is cool. She's an Earth Knight, and her ultimate looks real nice. I'm enjoying her ultimate. Looking good. This hero, her skills, they're actually quite usable in PvP. I feel like this hero can definitely be put to good use in PvP, and teams that go against her that are very single target based, especially high speed, high offense teams that don't have survivability increase, that don't have healing, they might be in trouble because she's got ways to stay alive, and even her artifact allows to boost her maximum health. Right, there's a condition there, and I'll talk more onto that, why I don't like it, the artifact, but this hero's kit looks quite promising. Now, I'm going to be showcasing this hero. You guys know about the drill, right? She's going to have 15 skill ups, and I might have her on a counter set with Elbrus Ritual Sword. Now, let's look at her stats here. Guys, thick amount of health. I mean, this is almost 7,000 health. This is, I believe, the highest maximum health base stats that we have in the game. You know, Sagittarius Knight, that's fallen CC, I believe. And look at that defense, very thick, almost 700. I mean, together that is an insane amount of maximum health, effective health, and that's great. That's what you want because of the way this hero actually works, right? And she scales based on her maximum health, so that is very good. Now, she's got imprint concentration that boosts her health even further. That is what you want, you know. Over time, you're accumulating these imprint, and that's definitely something that will make the hero stronger. That's great. More survivability, more damage. Love it. Now, the imprint release, you get more attack for top and back. That's good as well. Her speed, I mean, it's okay, right? Like, you're not expecting the other stats to be like super crazy when you have that much health and defense, right? So let's move on here with her skill. Number 2, this is a passive. It does have an activatable, and there's quite a few things going on here. Like, let's go over it, right? Malicious Smile. When attacked by a single attack, reflects 30% of the damage suffered to the attacker. Now, people were thinking, and I was thinking as well, like, is she taking 70% of the damage and 30% of the damage, the other 30% is actually getting reflected to the attacker, which is a massive survivability increase. But when she gets attacked by Hwa-Young in the preview, it doesn't look like it's actually the way it works. She's actually taking the full damage, right? And 30% of that damage is reflected toward Hwa-Young. So if that's the way it works, because I'll showcase her, we'll test it out, we'll know how it actually works. But if that was the case, man, that would make her much better. Now, I think she seems pretty good, but she could be quite a bit better, because if it did actually work that way. The reflected damage cannot be higher than the caster's maximum health. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, like, 30% of the damage that she's gonna take. I mean, imagine if that 30% damage that she takes is actually her full health bar, which doesn't make any sense because she's got such high health and defense, and she's going to be built tanky anyways, and your team might be tanky as well. After being attacked, when health is 30% or less, dispels all debuff from the caster and activates Murderous Intent. Now, this is good. A lot of stuff is going on here because all debuff will be removed from her, and that's great because there's a lot of debuff from a lot of different heroes, like in the meta. So that's definitely something that you want, because you want to remove the debuff so you can actually do something and you're not like fully disabled with a bunch of crippling debuffs, right? And Murderous Intent, I'll talk about that in a second. The effect after being attacked can only be activated once every 5 turns. Now, that's an issue. It's a very long cooldown. It cannot be reduced with the skill enhancement. It's actually the CR push of that activatable Murderous Intent that is getting increased instead. So grant a barrier to the caster for 3 turns and increase combativeness by up to 25% if you have the skill ups. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's maximum health. That is what you want to see. It's based on her maximum health. You want to pump that HP up as much as possible. You know, like 25k, maybe 30,000 up, right? With health imprint. It's pretty realistic, when you have her in an endgame build and you have a team with like quite a few imprints and you're running like a turn 2 team, very tanky, multiple layers of protection. It's definitely realistic to expect to have this hero at 30,000 health or higher, right? So that is definitely going to be very good. And 30% health or less, you can get her in that window, right? But that's also an issue. What if the hero that attacks her is actually dealing so much damage, aka like a Hua-Yang, right? Hua-Yang is fire, she's earth, so elemental advantage for Hua-Yang, so that means she's gonna take an even bigger beating, so that's something to keep in mind. And if the reflected damage doesn't actually increase her survivability because she's taking the full amount of damage, right? I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, that'd be great. That would be really good if that's the way it works, because that would be a massive survivability increase right there. And you can see that the damage that she took was almost 18,000, right? And the damage that Hua-Yang took was almost 2k, 1,964. Now, Hera is actually getting some of the damage redirected toward her. Hua-Yang had a barrier already, and the barrier wasn't so thick. It looked to be like maybe 15% of her maximum health. She has almost 10,000 HP, so let's say it's at 1.5k, right? She had there, so together with the damage that she took is, 3.5k in damage. Now, damage redirected toward Hera, so one moment. All right, as I was saying, so now it doesn't look like that. The survivability is there increase of maybe, Yulha took 70% of the damage and 30% was redirected toward Hua-Yang, right? So Hua-Yang looks to be like she took, like, in a direct hit was like 3.5k, right? If 30% of the damage that, Yulha took was that plus the damage redirected toward Hera. So 18,000 damage. What is 30% of 18,000 damage? It's less than 6k. It's 5.4k, let's say, right? So I said that Hua-Yang took something like 3.5. So if you take that off of that, it becomes like, how much is left? 1,900? 1,900, which does make sense that it was, that's like half of the damage that Hua-Yang took redirected toward Hera. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. It's not 50%. So, anyways, I don't think it actually works that way. I think what she took right there was the full damage. And yeah, look, she almost went down, guys. She almost went down. So what if Hua-Yang dealt more damage? She does have a tag buff, but she could have dealt more damage. I don't think they have the greatest of gear there. It looks pretty tight in terms of like health left there. I don't really like that. That's scary in Fire versus Earth. She's taking more damage. She's at elemental advantage, so it is a 10% damage increase, and I believe it can be a crushing hit as well. So that's even more damage. So yeah, it could be scary, right? To keep her alive and get to trigger her passive at 30% health or less. So keep that in mind. Now, Symphony of Agony attacks the enemy with Unraveling Sphere of Sadism, and when the enemy is defeated, recovers the caster's health. When the target is not an elite or boss monster's damage sharing effect are ignored, penetrates the target defense, but cannot trigger a critical hit. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's lost health, and amount recovered increases proportional to the caster's max health. Okay, so here's my issue with this, is that there's a lot of stuff that needs to be happening in order to actually maximize the potential of Yulha, right? So the first thing is that, the enemy needs to go. They need to attack her to trigger her passive, and then when her passive is triggered, she actually gets her passive to push her combat chance by up to 25%, so she can cut, right? Because if that doesn't get triggered, she doesn't cut, then maybe more enemies actually attack her, and maybe they take her down. So, remember that stuff. Things need to be happening in order. Now, Hua-Yang is actually attacking her, right? Like, Hua-Yang doesn't have to be attacking her. They're just like showing that on purpose to show that, oh wow, she can survive Hua-Yang. We don't know her stat. Maybe she can't really survive her. unless she has like 25k HP, 30k HP. Maybe you need multiple layers of protection, and yeah, I mean, that's something to keep in mind. Now, the skill 3 looks to be powerful, penetrates the target defense. That's great, but cannot trigger a critical hit. That's okay. You don't need to be building critical hit chance on her. That means more stats left for health, more stats left for defense. And I like that. That's great. And you don't need to worry about pushing the attack because you scale the health, you get more damage and more survivability. That's what I like to see on a hero like this. And also, there's health recovery, which looks to be pretty beast. And the recovery is based on her maximum health. But the other problem that I have with Yulha is that damage dealt with this skill increases proportional to the caster's lost health. So if no one attacked her and they ignored her, her damage will be less because you deal more damage the lower her health is at. So if the enemy Huayang knows that's how Yulha works, why would they attack her in the first place? And what if her damage is actually not that high because she didn't lose any health? And so, like, you get what I'm saying there? The soul burn effect here for 20 souls is very strong because it grants an extra turn and her skill 1 is powerful, right? So maybe you don't down the target with the skill 3, but maybe the skill 3 plus skill 1 makes it happen, right? But you need to defeat the enemy to get the recovery of health to happen. So there is a lot of if conditions in there to actually make this hero shine, which is kind of problematic for me. Now, this here has a 5-turn cooldown after skill ups. The soul burn grants an extra turn, so that means it's technically a 4-turn cooldown if you're actually going to soul burn this thing. So yes, you would need a mage with Agiel's Ancient Book, or you would need to have her ultra slow and have the enemy quite fast to build 20 souls in time. I don't think that will really work on turn number 1. So yeah, that's another thing. The soul burn is actually strong. It's actually strong. But you'd be okay without having it trigger. That's the thing. If she can actually knock out someone, take out someone with the skill number 3, it will be very good. Now, we can see here that she's going to attack here. And let's see what kind of damage she's able to do. It is 18.5k. 18.5k. And she actually lost. She actually... let me check her health. She's at 6,000 health, and her max health is at 24,000. So that is 18.5k damage when she's at 6k HP. So there's that multiplier that kicks in based on how much HP she lost, boosting the damage further. But what if she was at 100% health? How much damage would that be? That's why I'm going to be showcasing this hero with 15 skill ups, and we'll see what kind of numbers she's able to dish out, right? And they, you know, that's the thing. What if the enemy has multiple layers of protection? Damage redirection from whoever you're attacking to someone else. Like, can you pull off the one shot? Because 18.5k HP on Rimuru, like that, you know, he might be able to survive that if he's ultra tanky, especially if there's damage sharing there. Oh, sorry. Skill 3 ignores damage sharing effect. That's the thing. Damage sharing effect are ignored. That's why there's no damage being toward Para. So that's actually that's solid. So that increases the chance of you downing the target. And then the recovery was almost 10,000 health. So that is based on her maximum health. She has 26,000 HP, right? There's no Shimadra staff boosting green number. So that looks to be, if it's based on her maximum health, it seems to be 40%. 40% or a bit less. That is good. That is good. And remember, she got the barrier as well from the passive triggering. So she's looking pretty good in terms of like continuing the battle. Now, her skill number 1 attacks the enemy with 100% chance to redirect provoke for 1 turn. Very, very strong skill number 1. Redirected provoke means that even if she goes down, the debuff will stay on the enemy and they will be attacking the hero that has the highest maximum health on your team. Very good to make them like just use their skill 1. So that's great in terms of like if they didn't use the skill number 3 yet, or skill number 2, a more impactful skill than skill number 1, then that's going to be great, right? And if you have her on a counter, if you have her on Elbrus, that is a lot of redirected provoke throughout the battle. So I definitely like her skill number 1. I can see a lot of use out of this thing. And like I said, Resurrected Provoke stronger than Provoke, because if she goes down and she can only put Provoke, those Provoke are gone. So that's great. And the damage is based on her maximum health, right? The scaling is there. You got more health, bigger health pool, better survivability. You also get more damage. That is very cool. Now, you can definitely run her in a turn 2 team, a tanky team with multiple layers of protection. They have single target attackers. They're high speed, high offense, no survivability, and maybe because of her passive triggering, you know, she clears all debuff. She get a thick barrier. You're able to push your CR. She gets to go. She takes out someone with the skill number 3, recovers health, and you know, there's also a defense penetration, which I really like. She can't crit. Don't need to worry about building crit chance. So, you know, if she's the one that goes first in your team and she pops someone, the thing is, if they're high speed, high offense, they probably had their whole team go before you, because that 25% CR push on a hero that would be built tanky and slow, that doesn't make it so she's gonna cut between their attack. You would need to have her with quite a bit of speed, and if you build speed on her, then you're losing quite a bit of survivability, and if you lose the health, then it's easier for her to go down. So you have to keep all these things in mind, right? So this artifact of her, it's interesting, but there's a gimmick. At the start of the battle, grants a barrier to the caster for 2 turns. Okay, that's good. When you start the video, right, in the preview, her barrier is not thick because the enemy actually did the rotation and they took some of that barrier's health out. So we don't know actually how much health that artifact provide, but actually, But Reynolds on Reddit, he actually has the multiplier that was data mined. So sadly, I didn't check them. Right, but we get a pretty good idea of how thick the barrier is of her passive when it's shown. Actually, what was it? It was pretty thick. Like, what is it? Like, it said that it's actually like something like, what, 30% or 40% of her maximum health. I'm actually going to go back here. No, it doesn't say how thick that barrier is, but let me check in the battle here. So her passive trigger, oh, the barrier is super thick, man. Oh, it is thick. This looks to be 30% of her max health. If you have 3 of those barriers, it's like her full health bar, basically. So it is between 25 to 30% of her maximum health, which is pretty respectable for 3 turn, considering the fact that this hero actually, you know, is already built tanky. That amount when the enemy are already used their skill number 3 is quite a bit of survivability. And that's like, yeah, it's a surprise if she survives and she's able to use her skill 3, replenish health with it. If you have Shimaja staff, that's even higher green number, higher healing on her skill number 3, right? So the artifact here, when it's maxed out at the start of the battle, grants a barrier to the caster for 2 turns. We don't know how thick it is, but it should at least be like 20% of her max health, right? It's like just for herself, right? That's the thing. What if the barrier is not even 20%? That wouldn't make sense, because when attacking with a single target attack, when the caster is granted a barrier, damage increase up to 20%. It's 15% at plus 15, which is okay. If the barrier is 20% of her max health or even more, then that artifact is pretty solid. Barrier strength is increased proportional to the caster's maximum health. Now, the problem that I have with this artifact is that there's a lot of debuff. There's a lot of ways for the enemy to actually remove your buff. And if you're built slow, right, and if they don't trigger your passive, they ignore her, right? She doesn't even get the CR push, so she's like slow, she's way behind, they're lapping your team, and the barrier is gone. It's her time to shine, her time to go, and that barrier is gone. Now they triggered the passive, right? She gets the CR push, she gets a thick barrier that looks to be like maybe 30% of her max health. That's okay. Now the artifact is back in play, you're ready to get the damage increase. Now the damage increase on this thing is going to be quite important, right? So you definitely need to have a barrier. Now it's okay. You get the barrier from it, and also you got her passive that provide the barrier, and maybe your team has a way to give barrier to her, something like that. That's a lot of barriers. But at least, you know, there's different ways to activate it. So I feel like this barrier is actually quite important to have on her, because that's a lot of damage, up to 20%. Like, that means between landing the kill or not, right? And it's important to land it because there's the health recovery if she does, right? So yeah, it's a good artifact if you can have the barrier at the time of the attack. Now, if the barrier initially is actually pretty thick, like over 20%, That'd be real good. That is survivability increase for her. So I like that. I will be trying to get the Sphere of Sadism. So we'll see how it actually performs. I mean, let us know what you guys think about this hero in the comments section. But definitely stay tuned for my showcase. 15 skill up. I'll try her in various teams. We'll see how good her survivability is. What if the Reflect actually is a survivability increase? What if she only takes 70% of the damage of a single target attack and not the full 100%? That'd be pretty great. So yeah, let us know what you guys think about her in the comment section. She looks definitely promising for PvP. Now, you have to keep in mind, this hero is going to be available on June the 16th. And the thing is, there is the global ban going on in World Arena, right? So I'm pretty sure she's going to be in there with her artifact. So yeah, you can test her out in practice battle. But yeah, I'll showcase her, guys, in Arena. She can be showcased in Guild War, in practice in World Arena. It's all good, right? But I think she's going to be banned there. I think she will be. Anyways, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, Astranox. Good luck with all you do. Peace out for now.